Herzlich willkommen, as they say in Germany. A hearty welcome to a Vision special ahead of IA3, I suppose we'll be talking about, where we're going to have a little focus on the role of the dictator. So obviously a little bit of a clue in the title, because I spoke in German, it's about you-know-who. Back to our favourite, and I'm calling it as Cockpit, because really it's about where dictators steer their path from, where they take their course from. So any good, bad dictator, it's all about their form of leadership. So a dictator ultimately is about a cult of personality, and how many people you can take along with that personality, how many people want to buy into your dictatorship, and ultimately, I think it's probably fair, do the wrong thing. Obviously, the dictator sets the tone. They are the managing director, they are the leader, the Führer, as we know. But the dictator needs people to work with him and for him. So ultimately it's usually the weak, the spineless, the greedy, the ambitious. Those people who will do anything in order to please the dictator, the will of the dictator. That's, coming back to the title, that's Cockpit. That's the dictator is at the forefront, at the wheel, if you like. So having people to do your bidding is really, really important. Secondly, you want to make sure that there's a cult of fear amongst the people in your community. In Germany it was called the Volksgemeinschaft, the people's community. So whatever that community is, if there's a fear of that leader, that's what the leader wants to try to ensure is happening. So what we have, therefore, is a cult of propaganda, if you like, and this constant news stream of things that are happening. If you like, it's really a form of absolute marketing in this 2019 language, and it's really important that your marketing penetrates, and that marketing penetration is really, really important to make the regime work. So you will usually find that the dictator and the person in charge of that marketing are literally in cahoots. They are together, they are close, and it's really important in that vision that the dictator creates, that the head of marketing, who's usually scheming and ambitious as well, and we'll come on to that in another one, buys into this vision and equally wants that level of penetration to the wider society. And lastly, I guess, we'll talk about resistance to the dictator, and the resistance is really important, wherever it comes from. Now, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was a leading advocate of resistance and religion in the German period that we obviously are talking about here, Bonhoeffer talked about when good people do nothing, evil will prevail. Now, obviously, most people in society and most people in the world are good. There's no question about that. Most people choose to do the right thing. However, Bonhoeffer's point was that when good people fail to step in either through fear or through looking after their own positions or their own place in society, when good people do nothing, the people that most deserve are the ones that are most likely to perish. So there is resistance, and resistance comes in the form of peaceful protest. It's low-level resistance. You could say possibly that it's not effective. However, I would probably argue ultimately, in this example, that resistance did work. That constant chipping away, and ultimately, when that chipping away is effective, the marketing penetration falls away, and people question the regime. The regime was always questioned. that this society hasn't always been a bad society. It turned out that way because it had been badly led by a charismatic, albeit exceptionally lazy, dictator who inspired fear in people, but also inspired certain, like I said, weak, spineless people who were self-seeking and self-serving to follow the will of that particular Führer. All right, so that's, as I said, a little introduction for Instrument Assessment 3 that we're going to be talking about in the later part of the year. Obviously, these regimes still exist; they still go on, and it is important that popular protest happens and these regimes are brought down. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Like I said, a special Kefo vision that I wanted to get out there because it's a really important message that going into Instrument Assessment 3 in a new system, we shouldn't be afraid of the system, or we shouldn't be afraid or hang back or stand aside. That let's embrace it and let's really push forward and do this. Good on you.